time. And this group of our colleagues are really doing some exciting work, and I could absolutely do my best to try to tell you what they're doing, but it's better coming from those that are working in the trenches of not only what they're doing, but I'm just guessing we're going to hear of some future plans that this leadership group would like to offer for our kids too. And if he's going to talk to us about what I'm pretty sure he's going to talk to us about, I can tell you Jess and I are just as excited as they are about the opportunities that they can present kids. So without further ado, Dr. Bond, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to meet with you and to share with you tonight. It's exciting work, right? So been on site here for just a little over 6 months, and so I've learned a lot in my period here. The first thing I can tell you is that we have a fantastic group of students. Respectful, energetic, they're active, they're good kids, and they want, they're willing to try new and different things, right? I've got a fantastic group of teachers. Couldn't ask for a more receptive group of colleagues to work with. Anytime you present change or things different from those of the past, you anticipate resistance, and I have not encountered that whatsoever, right? So very pleased with that. And then I got to tell you, I absolutely love my leadership team, okay? Dynamic group of professionals who all have strengths and gifts, right? One of my foundational beliefs that we are all gifted in different ways, and to see that team assembled, right, and to see those pieces come together, couldn't ask for or a better group of people to work with. And so, having said that, I wanted to share them with you, right? So I brought them with me, and so I'll bring them up each in a little bit here to talk about their respective area and things that we have going on there. I do want to tell you one of the things we've talked about, and I've met with every group of students, right? Every class, we started the year off meeting with each grade level. The first thing we talk about is a growth mindset, right? And the ability to view constant change, the ability to improve and become better as a person, as a student. And one of the phrases that I use with them, right, is that we want to win the day. And the way you win the day is that you are better tomorrow than you are today, and you're better today than you were yesterday. And that's not competitive. That's not me versus you. That is me versus me. And so we work at getting better academically, athletically, in our ECAs, everywhere across the board. We want to get better every single day. And so we preach that, and that's a phrase we use, right? Win the day. My word for the year, as I entered into it, I'm a big reader of John Gordon, and John talks about having a word to be kind of your phrase for your year. And this year, for me, academically, for the school year, has been momentum. And what I mean by that is that I want to move a rock, right? I want to see change. I want to see us start to push things in a different direction. And I couldn't do that without this team, right? So I've asked them to assist me in this process. So the first person I'm going to bring up is Mr. Hayslip, assistant principal, and he can talk to you a little bit about the things going on there.
Thanks, sir. Good evening. So, right off the bat here, culture and climate. We want to set the highest expectations possible for our students. And the bottom line is they need to do their work. They need to come in every day ready to work and get the job done. And I think that's something that can be translated into life outside of school, whatever job they fall into. In light of this, we've tried to implement some early interventions with the idea of limiting zeros. We found that most of our students that are failing because they're not turning anything in. It's just plain and simple. So what we've done is we've set up weekly, they've been called study tables in the past, detentions. So I run a list every Monday morning. Any student that has 3 or more Fs for that week gets assigned an after-school detention. They go, they use that hour and a half to simply work on missing assignments. That's why they're there, and they know that. We have a teacher on staff, Mr. Giggy, who is there to help them if they need that time as well. If they do not go to that after-school detention, they are assigned a Friday detention, which is 3 hours on a Friday evening, where they, again, we use that time to work on coursework. The idea is to limit that number of students that have 3 or more Fs every week. Last year, rough numbers, I averaged about 60 students a week that had 3 or more Fs. This year, we're looking at around 30 a week. So, I hope to continue this.
It's good momentum.
Exactly. So I hope to continue this and see the benefits later on, in particular graduation rate. Lastly, emergency drills. Safety bags, we're continuing to practice, prepare. Something new we've implemented this year are safety bags or go bags for our teachers. They're in the room. Dr. Bond and I, with the help of Ms. Cheney, have gotten multiple supplies to put in these bags. For starters, clipboards. Those are for the rosters, so teachers can take attendance on a fire drill, tornado drill, etc. Red and green cards, so for example, on a fire drill, if they're missing a student, they can hold up that red card, and then we will go to that teacher and see who's missing. We've added gauze, we've added gloves. One student actually suggested something to us, add some candy for diabetic students. If they've had to hold in one area for a certain amount of time, they might need something for their blood sugar. So that's an evolving project, but teachers have been using them so far this semester. So that is all I had, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. There you go.
There you go. Hello, I'm Susan Taylor. Pleased to talk to you about the good things that we have going on with guidance this year. First and foremost, with Mrs. Stillions and I, relationships with our students. We want them to know us, we want to know them, we want them to feel comfortable coming to us, asking us questions, asking us for help. There's a quote that says that every student is one caring adult away from being a success story. We believe that, and we want to be that one adult for our students. Additionally, we started out the year, we met with every single freshman in our course load just to kind of set the stage, to explain to them why we're there, to explain the difference between high school and middle school. And we got through all of them relatively quickly. Then we moved on to the seniors. We have met with all of our seniors, and additionally, once we did that, we wanted to make sure that we were on the same page with them, that they knew expectations for the year, that they knew where things stood for them. But then once we finished that meeting, we called home in order to kind of open up the lines of communication with parents and make sure that they are aware where the kids are, but also to reach out and let them know if they need assistance with the college process, military process, employment, etc., that we are there to help them. So that has been well received by the parents. We will then, second semester, meet with sophomores and juniors, all of them when we schedule. And we will meet with freshmen and seniors again. Not seniors, sorry, we'll meet with freshmen again, and then incoming 8th graders. Along with Mr. Hayslip, we are trying to be very proactive versus reactive. We are making interventions even earlier in an effort to increase the graduation rate. Mr. Hayslip's interventions are with the study tables, after school detentions. We are actually already making class changes for our students. We've already made them for a lot of kids for next semester based on the fact that they're just, maybe if they're not successful in a particular class. Obviously not with required courses, but with electives. If a kid is in an elective and we're just not seeing success, we're being very proactive now and we're changing that schedule so that we don't end up with an F first semester and an F second semester. Additionally, with students who are failing a required course, we are maybe looking at second semester and saying, hey, we apologize, we can't do these 3 electives that you've chosen next semester. We're gonna knock it down and do 2, and we're gonna go ahead and start credit recovery. And we're gonna put put you in with Mrs. Phelps or with Mr. Reed, etc., and get you making up credits so that we are not so far behind at the end of the year that we're not already starting to catch up. We've seen some situations with kids where it's almost too late now to be intervening. We don't want that to happen on our watch. So very much more proactive versus reactive. Optimizing flex time, so that homeroom time. Not only, we're looking at the 3 E's, not just enroll. So we're looking at enlist and employ as well. So during that homeroom time, it's always been kind of a tradition that you allow people from college reps to come in and kids can sign up to see them. Now we're allowing the military to do presentations during flex time, not just having them in the lunchroom. Crane will be coming in and doing a presentation. We've had IBEW come in and do presentations. We've had YO Tech, which is a career and tech college. So just opening up that time to entities other than just colleges so that students see all of the opportunities that are out there for
Ms.
them.
Taylor, has that been, sorry for interrupting,
No,
has
you're
that been, has that been pretty well received by the kids?
It has been.
Having other options besides just traditional career
Yes,
college?
100%. You know, it's sometimes you may have 6 to 10, sometimes you may just have 4, but the ones that come are truly interested, and so they get a better conversation with those representatives. And some have asked to come into the classroom, and we've helped to foster that communication between the classroom teachers as well.
That's awesome.
Indiana College Corps. So we have had lots of conversations, and we are trying to be very strategic, and these guys are gonna talk a little bit more about that, but very strategic about the talent that we already have in the pipeline in an effort to increase dual credit offerings to our students. And also, we're going to strategically add and hire so that our students have more dual credit opportunities. We would like to start to offer the ICC, which is the Indiana College Corps. So today,
As of today, we are partnered with Ivy Tech as our provider.
yes. And what that means is students get a block of 30 credits that they can take with them. It's a block of just basically general credits that they will take with them to college. And when they take that to an Indiana school, they're guaranteed to have those block of credits awarded, and basically their freshman year is done
Is
and
that
taken
any
care of.
school in Indiana?
It is.
State of Indiana?
I knew you were gonna ask that. It is 30 credit hours of general education, college level coursework that transfers but let me qualify that, among all Indiana public colleges and universities, public.
Okay, public.
But obviously they're in the business of making money. So sometimes there are situations like where Purdue will say, you have to take engineering calculus, or you have to take this particular course. But the students are required by law to be granted that block of 30 credits. So it saves kids a lot of time and a lot of money. And so we're trying to give them something tangible when they leave. And not that there's anything wrong with random acts of dual credit, because that kind of has a negative connotation, and dual credits are good regardless. But if they have this block of 30 credits, it forces some schools to play a little nicer with the students. Yes, ma'am.
Do the dual credits cost the students, our students?
Not from Ivy Tech.
From Ivy Tech.
We do have some that have in the past. We also have well-rounded course access that is free to our students as well. Currently, we have a VU class that has a fee attached to it, but the majority of them are free to our students. And then finally, scheduling process, moving to the block. Yay! I personally am so excited. I have been a parent of students on the block. I have worked in schools with the block. I've been a board member on a school with the block. I cannot say enough good things about it. They're gonna talk to you about the good things with regard to Cosmos and what it allows us to do, but from a parental perspective, from a board member perspective, from an employee perspective, it is awesome. It allows kids to work, and it allows kids to do sports and not have that heavy burden of oh my gosh, I've got homework and 7 assignments tonight. How am I gonna I'm gonna be up until midnight after my football game, or up until midnight after my volleyball game. Now they're gonna have homework in 4 classes max, and that's really gonna help kids. It just makes it easier for them, for those kids who have to have employment outside of school. It's easier for them. It's easier for them to participate in sports, so it's a good thing, and we're excited.
Dr. Bonnie, it also, correct me if I'm wrong, it would also give our kids an extra
Yes,
class period on
Yes.
credits.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, so we would go from offering 7 a year to 8 a year, so that gives a kiddo.
per semester.
Per semester.
Right.
So
So
they could get 16 versus 14.
64 over the course of 4 years versus, what's 14 times 4? Is that right? No.
No.
14,
56.
thank you.
And Mitchell, you're in guidance, it's okay.
No, it's okay.
It's okay, you're not teaching calculus, it's okay.
Yes.
But she's a rock star.
It's okay.
Yes,
All right.
thank you.
So, Ms. Taylor, thank you very much, that's exciting.
She's been
Pleasure.
fantastic. She's got a lot of work ahead of her because I'm going to count on her for a lot of things with this schedule change. But we're excited about where we're at and what we've got going on. So that brings me to kind of the big picture. So 30,000-foot view. We talk about as a district the big rocks, right? So I have combined two of those big rocks into one word right now for us: academics, right? So academics, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about it, equity and inclusion as being another rock. And we're actively working on both of those right now. Okay, so first of all, new initiatives. And this is equity and inclusion. Our life skills classroom is moving from an upstairs classroom with limited access to the true life skills curriculum to a new location. That will open up a brand new world of curriculum to them that will be fantastic. So we get them up to speed and also include them in our building. I met today with Dr. Dykstra, and we talked about unified sports and tying those kids into different activities and ECAs so that they are fully embedded in the Mitchell High School ethos. And then transition to the Block 8 schedule. It is a modified Block 8, so we'll have alternating days. Monday and Wednesday will be the same, Tuesday and Thursday will be the same, and then Friday we meet all 8 class periods on one day. This will then sync with our Cosmos schools. And so we can go from right now with a limited mapping where we can actually match up with time frames to now we expand that to, I think it was like six courses, 6 class periods that now match with Cosmos, and we can fully implement. And so that is moving ahead. Also this year, moving to an academy model for MHS. All right, so I want you to think about this. All right, we talk about when you go to college, these kids enter the school and they become part of a school. Right? They go to the school of education, the school of business. What we're looking at for our students is an opportunity to expose them to a multitude of career options and then have them choose as a sophomore which academy they would like to participate in. Beginning next year, we will begin with a freshman academy, the 9th grade Bluejacket Academy. It is our introduction process. It is an opportunity to embed those students in the high school environment. You can look at all the statistics you want. You can go from corporation to corporation. Go from, you look at that 8th grade to 9th grade transition, and you will always see a dip in performance. Because with that changeover, we lose students from 8th grade to 9th grade. They just don't perform as well, they don't make that transition. We want to bridge that gap. And so, what we have done, we have identified 4 core teachers as of right now, and those individuals will serve as the teachers for the Freshman Academy. This will give us an opportunity to team teach and to coordinate our curriculum so that we involve and for them to plan together, common planning period, so they can work together to provide better access for those freshmen. And then that would be phase 1. That is scheduled for implementation in fall of 23. And then by phase 2, which would be spring of 23, August 24, we will plan and implement. We're working with SREB and doing that right now in implementing a 3 academy model for the high school. Those 3 academies, as they stand right now, those academies would be a STEM academy, a Health Sciences Academy, and a Human Services Academy. So students as a sophomore would have an opportunity to choose which academy they would like to be a part of. Now, it is not binding. It doesn't lock kids into tracks, but it would give them an exposure to a 3 to 4 course sequence that we could then build into that. We could get them opportunities to exposure to career opportunities, to get out and to see the world, to see the employment opportunities in that field, in addition to having our teachers be able to specialize in those areas as well. And so that would be the fall of 24. And then by fall of August 24, August 20 through 25, we would do a review and revision process to begin to look at that. So, a lot of things going on. This actually is a plan that we talked about for probably 2 to 3 months. And like, okay, let's go to the faculty and see what they said. And they actually started this process 5 years ago, and it just kind of never moved. And so we were all on the same page, and so that's that synergistic, as I mentioned, when you approach the faculty with it, they were on board, ready to move. They had pamphlets that they already put together for different academies. So things were in place, ready to make that transition. All right, so at this time, I'm going to bring up Mrs. Kidd, Director of Cosmos. And we're going to talk about CTE. So please hang with me for just a second. As we talk about graduation from the high school, you need to understand that we talk about 3 buckets. And sometimes we throw that around pretty easily, but I want to make sure what